no need to adjust your computer monitor, TV screen, however you may be watching me right at this very moment. But if you are, I appreciate you joining me and hanging out with me at the moment. This is outside of our normal Monday and Thursday morning live shows. Actually, this completely stems from the fact that I realized I left my coffee cup in here this morning. And so wanted to come back and get it. But then I remembered how the fact that we didn't end our show the way that we wanted to because of technical issues. And I thought, you know what, between the fact that I left my coffee cup in here and the fact that I wanted to end the show the way that I think we should end it, I decided to go live and figured I would do a Going Broadway podcast chat of sorts, if you will. But I also wanted to address a post that I made earlier on our Facebook page specifically. If you have not taken a look at that, I'll kind of run down that real quick. But first off, guys, let me know how you're doing. Let me know if this is your first time that you've watched us. I'll give you a shout out. Mr. Ryan on YouTube, yo, I'm here. William says about. I'm assuming you mean a chat about what? Chat about whatever we want. Jordan checking in. Appreciate it. Travis says, King Corbin, my pick to win the 2021 Royal Rumble. Mark says I have to leave when it comes on. I'm sorry, I'll miss it. No big deal. This was totally unannounced. I mean, I didn't even know I was going to do this until, like I said, I walked in here to grab my coffee cup because I left it in here this morning. And between that and then the technical issues, I wanted to jump on here, chat with you guys for a little bit, but also make sure that some of the technical issues, kind of test this a little bit to make sure that, at least for the time being, that they seem to be fixed. And so far, it looks like we're doing okay because it tells me on my computer screen over here if we've got any issues. It looks like we're good so far. Jordan says, y'all's background music sounds like a Mortal Kombat theme. Not trying to be funny. It's awesome. I never looked at it that way, but it does sound like Mortal Kombat, actually. That's a great observation. Mr. Ryan says, great show this morning, fellas. I appreciate it. Hey, Tom, what's up? Aaron says, was at work today? Did you do a belt giveaway? Not today. We did not. I'll address that here in a second. Don, yo. Justin says, missed last podcast. Was a belt given away. Again, not today. Don, lock and load. I love it. Armando from San Antonio. Thanks for tuning in. Mr. Ryan, I hope you're doing well also. Dusty says, WCW trademark filed by WWE, CM Punk, and AJ Lee co-hackers. I don't know. Mark Cyrus, the bearded one, is here. I love it. Mark Cyrus is a friend of the show. He, along with the guys at Beltomania, you can check them out on Facebook and YouTube. They have a show every Tuesday and Saturday night. If Mark's still on here, he can include in the chat exactly when the times of those are. I always get them mixed up. Don says, Tully Blanchard is the man. Ian, I'm doing well. How are you, sir? Mr. Ryan at work. Alrighty. Travis says, Alex, if I ever heard of Orange Cassidy? Yes, I have. I'm a big fan of his. I love AEW. Don, live from Connecticut. This is his first time. I love it. Thanks for tuning in. Justin, Aaron, hello. Don says, Jinder Mahal Universal Champ 2021. Oh, Ryan Johnson from Facebook. Okay, cool. Yeah, Don, anytime. I love giving people shout outs whenever they're participating. And that's kind of the one thing we like to do with our shows. Again, we're usually live every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. If anyone's just jumping on, again, this is outside of that just because kind of spur in the moment. I came back into the studio to grab my coffee cup. I left it in here this morning. And because of that, as well as the technical issues, I wanted to see if kind of do a test video and maybe do a live chat with you guys for 10 or 15 minutes. I wanted to test this out and make sure it looks like things are doing okay at the moment. Yeah, okay. Mark says Beltomania is Tuesday at 7:15. These are all Eastern time. Tuesday at 7:15 and Saturday at 8 o'clock. So check them out on Facebook and YouTube as well. Jamie, yo. Jordan says 4 words for you. Adam Cole, baby. Yeah, we had a nice little conversation about Adam Cole on this morning's show about the prospects of his contract ending this summer. I should say his contract ending this summer, possibly, and the prospects of him potentially making the jump to AEW, but we'll see. Ultimately, I think he'll stay. I think that Britt Baker will stay with AEW as well, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. Dave says he smells a Cody heel turn with the TNT title run, maybe pairing with FTR. We kind of touched on that this morning as well during our recap. I don't know if Cody will turn heel or not. He kind of planted the seed for it. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what develops over the next few weeks. Matthew says FTR is face at the moment. Yeah, they're kind of in a tweener role right now. I mean, it's a small sample size. They attacked Butcher and the Blade last night. But then they walked away whenever Matt Jackson, not so much, but looked like Nick Jackson was trying to reach out a hand to, shake their hand, and they walked away right as soon as that happened. So, Travis says my picture is of me and Orange Cassidy. Armando says, with all this virus going on, did the WWE lose ratings, or is it better without the audience? It's definitely not. Nothing is better without the audience, in my opinion. The crowd is what makes wrestling shows fun, whether it's in person or well, obviously if it's in person, then there's a crowd, but crowds are what makes wrestling fun, watching it on TV. So, guys, I wanted to address a post I made earlier on Facebook while I've got you guys on here. Again, I appreciate you hanging out with me for a little while. I won't be on here long. I won't take too much of your guys' time, but basically, we've gotten quite a bit of traction over the last 4 months that we've been doing this, almost 5. And again, we sincerely appreciate it. We can't thank you guys enough. And, guys, I'll always be saying that, if we're doing this 5 years from now, you guys are going to hear me thank you all the time. It's just it's going to happen. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I really don't care, because seriously, it's because of you guys we're able to do this. But that being said, because we're getting more traction, I wanted to address a few things, and I did in this post, but basically here are the big things. We try to keep our shows as clean, I'll call it family-friendly oriented as possible. We try to keep our social media pages that way as well. So that being said, please refrain from any kind of vulgar language, any profanity, not only on the chat threads during our shows, but as well as on our social media pages. We are going to start, I guess for lack of a better way of putting it, giving out warnings, I guess, for a first offense. There will be a final warning for a second offense, and then if there's a third offense, you will be removed from our social media pages if it becomes that big of an issue. Hopefully it doesn't. And we know we're going to have the one-offs every so often that, we're not going to catch every single one of them. But I'd appreciate it if you could do your part and just help us keep it clean. We can engage in conversation without dropping the F-bombs or, all the other 4-letter words that are out there. So if you could do that for me, I'd appreciate it. We wouldn't have any issues there. The second thing is, if we catch anybody trolling on our social media pages or on the chat threads during our live shows, no questions asked, you're going to be removed. Now, I say trolling, I mean purposefully doing it. I mean, there's going to be the occasional, we're not going to remove someone because of a misunderstanding or because guys might be bickering. That's not what I'm getting at. But if you're purposely trying to troll or make fun of somebody, we're not going to stand for it. Case in point, we actually did have to remove somebody today, essentially because they're trying to troll Cole and I, and this was after we had gone off the air. And I know they were trying to do that because they had blocked me on Facebook, so they thought that, well, if they blocked me on Facebook, that I wouldn't be able to block them from our pages. Well, totally incorrect. So we did have that come up today, so I wanted to address that before I get to the other points. I'm going to read some of your guys' comments, see what you have to say. Matthew says, I'm waiting for the Hangman heel turn. Yeah, I mean, that's AEW drags out their storylines, but not in a bad way. Don't get me wrong. Jamie says, hated WWE without a crowd. Agreed. Dusty, Cody, Young Bucks, FTR, EC3, and Hennig. Future stable coming. I don't know about that. I mean, that seems like that seems like a huge stable. I mean, that's 7 guys, but I mean, and I could be wrong, but it's one of those, how would they do it? How would they build towards that? Especially since, Cody the Bucks, I've had this, the Elite faction plus being the Elite series that, besides the mentions, FTR has not actually ever been on it. By the way, I apologize, guys. Once again, we need to get. I'd really love to get these lights not motion activated. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, for one thing, EC3 and Joe Hennig would actually have to be picked up by AEW, and I don't know that they will. I don't know that they won't, but we'll see. Travis says, Alex, who's your pick to win the Royal Rumble? I don't have a good clear-cut answer for that. I mean, it's too early to tell. If you made me pick right now based on how they're building storylines and who they're pushing and, who might be kind of the future, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Andrade gets a Royal Rumble win. Who knows? I mean, it's a ways out, so a little too early to predict that. Jordan says, I'm good, just chilling on my day off, watching the network. Awesome. Jamie says, Stone Cold coming out with the crowds. What? He seems stale. He feeds off the crowd. Yeah, exactly. I get what you're saying. Mark answered my own question. Royal Rumble is way too far off to call a winner or think about. Mr. Ryan says that pop would have been massive for FTR if the crowd was there. 100%. I mean, any of these debuts would have been over with the crowd. Matt Hardy. Even Brody Lee. I mean, he was supposed to debut in Rochester, where he's from. Jamie says, keep it clean, folks. Yes, please. Travis, podcast is class act. I appreciate it. Let's see. Armando says, is Ronda coming back to WWE? I don't know. It depends on whether or not her comments lately have been a work or a shoot or maybe a combination of the two. I don't really know. I wouldn't be surprised if she does. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't. I know that's not really a good clear-cut answer, but, Don says, a couple comments from Don. He says, Matt Taven rules. He also says, give a shout-out to Northeast Wrestling in Connecticut. Shout-out to you guys at Northeast Wrestling. Derek says, hello, Alex. First time watching. Keep up the great work. Hope to win a belt one day. Appreciate it, Derek. Thanks for hanging out and tuning in. Mr. Ryan says, does being a gender fan count as troll? Because people call me that for being a genuine fan of gender. No, I mean, not at all. I'm saying whenever whenever people troll others in the chat. If someone were to troll you because you like gender, then that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's not something we're going to stand for. We're not going to allow that kind of thing. Jordan says, was the rumor ever confirmed that Taker signed a 15-year WWE contract? I think the term of it was confirmed. I think it was the money amount that was not. So, yes, I think it is 15 years. Jamie says, imagine The Rock and how much he got the crowd involved. It was half of his gimmick. I don't think he would get over as well without a crowd. Yeah, 100% agreed. I mean, that's just it's making talent be better on the mic and coming up with innovative ways to try to get over because there's not a live crowd. And when I say there's not a live crowd, I mean, I get that AEW has been using their talent for a while. WWE just started doing it recently. I'm not counting that as a live crowd. Mr. Ryan says, isn't his last name Hennig? I've always thought Henning, but if you look at his real name, yeah, it's Hennig. There's not the third N at the end. It is Hennig. Dusty says, I just want to thank you guys for giving us a great, wholesome, and family-friendly wrestling reaction and viewpoint show. One of the best wrestling podcasts I watch next to Ryder and Hawkins' Collectible Podcast. Dusty, we sincerely appreciate it. Again, we appreciate you guys, though. Without you guys tuning in, this would just be kind of more of a fun thing to do / hobby, which is actually kind of what we were wanting to do in the first place. If someone would have told me, we would have between all of our social media platforms, if someone would have told me you guys are going to have close to 5,000 between all of your social media platforms within 4 or 5 months, I would have said you're crazy. But I mean, that's where we're at right now. We're at 3,700 on Facebook. We're at 750, and this is give or take 750 on Twitter. About 470 on Instagram. So we're actually close to hitting our first, I'll call it checkpoint, or maybe it's not the right word. We're able to be close to checking off one of those boxes in order to do our next giveaway. one of those was getting 500 followers on Instagram, and we're at 470 right now, so we're close there. And then I think we've got 420, 430 on YouTube. So credit to you guys. We appreciate you guys, and yeah, I mean, it's again, without you guys, we would not have the success that we do. Armando says, "What about Rey Mysterio? Is he retiring?" Tough to tell. The reason I say that is because it seemed like it was just going to be a work, but it's like a lot of wrestling. What's the word I'm looking for here? Basically, a lot of the internet wrestling community is picking up the fact that he's legit retiring, and so I don't know. I'd still be surprised if he did, and if it's not just some kind of a work that they're integrating to do a program with Seth Rollins, but who knows? Jamie says they should bring Ronda back, and while she's cutting a promo, Holly Holm makes her debut. That would be fantastic. By the way, guys, if I'm looking to my right, I'm just looking at my computer over on this side to make sure that we're there's a thing on our screen that says dropped frames, and if that number starts going up, I know that we're freezing up. But so far it's at 0, so we should be okay. Mr. Ryan says, do you think WWE will hire Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, or are they indie or AEW bound? I think they I don't know. I think they're gone. I know that I know that they've said that a lot of these people that are being released have the potential to come back or are pretty much guaranteed to come back. They're just furloughed right now, but I think they're going to be gone. I don't think that. Let's look at these one by one. Brian Myers / Kurt Hawkins. I think he was just kind of someone that WWE kept on their roster just so they had depth. I don't discredit his talents by any means, but at the same time, they didn't put him in a prominent role. I mean, he wasn't in a prominent spot. I mean, he held the tag titles for a cup of coffee, basically, and, that was basically it. Actually, I think he might have held the tag titles twice. But to answer your question, I don't even know if I'd say either of them are AEW bound. I don't even know if they're indie bound. They might just stick with their podcast and, their wrestling figure collection as far as, the shows that they do with that. I don't know. I mean, Matt Cardona / Zack Ryder, he just did a ton of sales on Pro Wrestling Tees for that shirt that they released on for him. So we'll see. Travis says, I would let my wife and girlfriend watch this podcast. I wouldn't have a wife and girlfriend if I were you. That's just my take on that. Dusty says, listening to Matt, he seems pumped to be able to have creative freedom, which AEW would give him, and he's been working on his body to be himself in a way he wasn't able to do in WWE. Yeah, potentially. I don't really know. I'll say this, and I've said it before. We don't really have much in the way of wrestling insider knowledge. I mean, the stuff that we bring to you guys is more so opinion based. Like I said on the show this morning, we tend to embellish a little bit, but that's what we're supposed to do because we're a wrestling podcast. We're supposed to embellish and speculate and get all of us talking, and that's why we enjoy the shows, because we enjoy talking with you guys and getting your opinions, whether we agree or disagree or not. That's one of the things that makes our shows fun. So, let's see. It is about 3:20 my time, 4:20 Eastern time. I'll tell you what, guys. I think I'm going to jump off here. I wanted to do a test run, basically, of what our situation looked like over here. I'll answer one more question, and then I'm going to jump off here, guys. Mr. Ryan says, will there be a time where you guys have guests on, will there be a time where you guys have guests, either fans or wrestlers? Only if it's going to benefit our show. Essentially, what I mean by that is if it's going to increase our viewership. I'll phrase it this way. We're not going to just have our buddies on the show unless it's a emergency one-time thing. That's why If you remember a couple weeks ago, Cole wasn't able to be on here, so I did the show solo. You know, I mentioned a while back that we were in the process of getting a guest on here, which there's still talks ongoing with this particular individual. I don't want to say talks have stalled at the moment, but a lot of it is just due to scheduling and trying to figure out what's going to work for this particular individual. But let's put it this way. If we are able to get this individual on, it would be a huge get for us, for lack of a better word. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with me, even if it was for 20 minutes. But again, you can catch us live every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time on Facebook and YouTube. Here are our links. We are goingbroadwaypodcast.com/YouTube. Please subscribe to that. Over here is our Facebook link, facebook.com/goingbroadwaypodcast. And then way over there below the other screen that Cole is normally on, at GoingBRDWIPod is our Twitter handle. That is also our Instagram handle as well, at GoingBRDWIPod. So please like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube page. And guys, I appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with me for a while, and I will catch you guys on Monday.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
This podcast was a presentation of LightUpMedia.fm.